And we are officially live. We're reacting to, man, oh man, some big wins for some SEC teams in week 2. And there's one team that didn't have a very good loss. We're going to talk all about it. Locked On SEC Squad Reaction Show starts now.
You're talking ball with the SEC Squad. From Alabama to Tennessee, from Georgia to Oklahoma, from Auburn to Texas, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming SEC weekend. It's the SEC Squad, and we have a seat for you. Hurt feelings and thin skin are prohibited. Squad up, you're part of the SEC Squad.
And what's up, everybody? It is a Sunday reaction to SEC Week 2. We had some monster wins across the conference, and tough loss for Kentucky, but I feel like their fan base feels a little bit encouraged, and the other team that lost, they don't feel very good at all. We're going to talk all about it. And guys, welcome in our panel today. We got Jay Smith, Locked On Sooners. We got Brandon Olson, Locked On Gators. Luke Robinson, Locked On Bama. We got Chris Marlowe, Locked On Gamecocks. John Miller, Locked On Mizzou. And Clint Chamberlain, Locked On Bulldogs. I'm Chris Gordy, host of Locked On SEC. And by the way, today's episode brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account. Use our code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. We're streaming out to all of our shows live, so if you guys want to get in, feel free to leave a comment. We'll pop up some comments on the screen as we get started. But rather than get straight to the bad, guys, the good, the bad, the ugly, I'd like to start with the good, because there were some monster wins last night in the SEC. And, Jay, let's just start with you. Oklahoma, huge win over Michigan. Michigan cuts into a one-score game late. But Oklahoma prevails and really flexed their muscle. I never felt like Oklahoma was in danger of losing this one.
Yeah, neither did I. For the most part, we were sitting on roughly a double-digit lead through most of the game. Like I said, cut it down to 7. If there's anything I can really say about this game, we left probably 21 points on the field. We shot ourselves in the foot a couple of times. We had them in their own territory, and then we not only muff a punt, and then the next time we have them like inside the 10-yard line, we freaking hit the punter. So it's roughing the kicker. So you kind of give them a little bit of yardage. They get a little bit of momentum, but the good thing is that we've only allowed them to get field goals. The start to the second half was a little bit disappointing. But I recognize exactly what the problem was. I went back and watched the film like 3 times, and I noticed Brent Venables got the play out a little late. And you can't do that when you have a true freshman at corner, because then they're going to miss their assignment. He was supposed to fill that hole. He didn't. It's okay, because he was targeted 8 times in that game, and he only allowed 1 catch. Shout out to Cortland Guillory at corner. So Oklahoma did what we wanted to do. We muscled a Michigan team that's known for muscling people. We shut them up. We pushed them around. We punked them the way that we need to punk them, and we walked out with a double-digit win.
Anybody else have a reaction to Oklahoma's game? I mean, look, you kind of knew Bryce Underwood being a true freshman. It wasn't going to be pretty.
It wasn't going to be pretty, but you did anticipate Michigan. I think actually Oklahoma dominated that game. I mean, I know the score, box score, like we said, came, but looking at it, just eyeballs told me Oklahoma has the same identity they did last year. Jay's been telling us for a while they have a defense. They had offensive line. There was huge injuries on the skill positions. Well, all of a sudden, get a running back, get a quarterback to compare or to combine with those. And it looks like all of a sudden Brent Venables is a master class kind of coaching. He might still be okay, but what it really comes down to is you got the guys in the right position to execute well. Oklahoma, I said, is going to ruin somebody's season. Well, not just ruin somebody's season, make their own season. And now they're looking like a good bet to take the over on their win total. I was really impressed with Oklahoma.
I'll say this, the most interesting thing to me about that game was when Underwood and Justice Haynes sort of got into it on the sidelines. That was just kind of bizarre to see. Justice Haynes is the dude. Look, I saw somebody say this isn't Michigan from 2 years ago, and that's true. There's no doubt. This is still a Michigan team that, again, they look pretty good, and it's a big win for Oklahoma. And right now, I don't know who else you'd put in the Heisman front seat other than John Mateer. He looks fantastic to me.
Oh, talk about Taylor Green from Arkansas, which we'll sure get into. The kid's got 10 touchdowns in 2 games. No one seems to be talking about it. Bad week to be in the camp of the SEC sucks. I don't know what they're talking about on the Big 12 show this week. Maybe basketball. I don't know.
It's definitely
the
basketball
Arizona State
season in
game.
Kansas. I can tell you that.
No, it's not
you go.
Kansas. It's definitely not Kansas. Maybe
take
Coach
it.
Prime did something new. It's wearing a different shade of shades. I don't know. But it's a bad week to have just headlines dominate your show instead of actual substance. That's all I'm going to say. So I'm glad we're all here and we get to partake in the substance of this week.
Well, John Miller, let's throw that in. I mean, Mizzou, look, it was early on. It wasn't pretty. Kansas seemed to be dominating this one, and then Mizzou kind of flipped the script.
Yeah, it was a weird first quarter. Missouri had a great first drive, and then Kansas scores 21 unanswered in that first quarter, including Bo Prabula coughs up the ball. Kansas runs it into the end zone. Really, other than that, though, I thought Prabula was pretty tremendous in the game. You want to talk about people who should be getting at least noticed more nationally. He's off to a great start.
Yeah.
You consider 3 touchdowns, no picks, more than 300 yards in this game. Missouri basically spotted, they were like, hey, 15-point lead, go out there and win it, kid, and your second start in the SEC. I mean, that's tough, man. That's a tough position. I was duly impressed.
Other big wins for the conference last night, and you guys jump in, talk about any of them. I mean, Mississippi State against Arizona State was about
that was
as fun of a game to watch. Sun Devils came back. I mean, it looked like they were going to win it. They get down to the goal line. Mississippi State stands firm, first down, second down, third down, holds them to a field goal, and then Brennan Thompson just gets loose. The cowbells, look, I've had a few people say, why is that legal still, the cowbells in the stadium? But a few people I've talked to have said that was the loudest they have heard that stadium ever.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
defense
that way.
was Arizona State in?
I was at the because I was at the Oklahoma Michigan game. I didn't get to really watch this one, so I got up really early to go back and rewatch because I was like, wait, they were tied at one point. Actually, they were down at one point, and Mississippi State came back and won. Saw that Brennan Thompson catch, and I was like, shout out former Sooner / Longhorn. Look at him go. Jeff Levy's out there putting together some special stuff on the offensive side of the ball, and the defense was not even really a slouch. They only gave up 333 yards for a team that used to be like a turnstile. They would let everybody just go past them in offense and on runs and on passes. Gotta give it to them. They made Arizona State 82 passing yards. Now, I get it that Arizona State was able to run down their throat for the most part, but shoot, you only give up 82 passing yards? I'm impressed they were able to do that.
Yes, that was the biggest thing to me. And I think what's really wild, back to what we've all said before, the SEC hate has to stop at some point. Mississippi State, it won't. I know it won't. We're talking about Kentucky and Mississippi State being the bottom feeders of our conference, and all of a sudden they come out and they take it. Again, watching that game, you would have thought that Arizona State was the same playoff team from last year. That running back had a couple good runs all the way throughout, replacing a guy that's now with the Giants. I get that, but when are we going to actually state for real, instead of all the joking that's out there, that our teams are in fact better top to bottom than everybody else's, and we can go 8-9. I don't care how many games. Mississippi State put y'all on notice that you guys are the joke. I know it's on the road. I get it. It's on the road. I get it. I understand. But come on.
I just saw somebody in a comment say that, hey, guys, let's calm down. The SEC ain't what it used to be. It might actually be better, guys. Vanderbilt took Virginia Tech to the freaking woodshed.
Yes. They made
Vanderbilt. This team is good. Who's the bad joke of a team? Kentucky played a competitive game against Ole Miss. Steven, you tell me if that was more Ole Miss or Kentucky. I'm just saying from my perspective right now, who's the easy win? It's not Mississippi State.
Nope.
As long as we're going to sit here and let the national media and like national media that has been under the thinly veiled guise of being journalists for however long, and then also have just become open trolls to everything, and people have eaten it up. Danny Cannell going on last night, and I know it's Danny Cannell, but this whole thing about how, hey, listen, this shows how the SEC is because Florida lost. They went 14-2 yesterday. One of the losses was to another SEC team. And the inability to just be able to even acknowledge, hey, I know I talked a lot of trash, but also here are some positive things. That is where we've got lost the actual story here. And it's very frustrating because what's his name's not wrong. Florida Phil, not wrong. The SEC hasn't been to a Natty game in 2 years. I didn't know that only making the Natty game, especially since they've done it in 16 to 17 years prior to that, I didn't know that was now all of a sudden the bar of excellence and standard for every other place in the country besides the SEC. And that's what's so weird to me, because they've gaslit the rest of the country into believing oh no, they're terrible now. They didn't even make the national title game. It's it's so weird that people are still buying into this.
Let me say this, that I said that earlier, it's way too early to have a Heisman thing, but John Mateer would probably be my number one voter for voting today. But I'll say this. there is no quarterback in this country who plays within his system like Diego Pavia.
Yep.
Now, he's not better than Mateer. He's not better than Nussmeier, but watching Pavia was just a masterclass on this is what my coach wants me to do, and I'm going to do that because I believe in him. And it was a beautiful thing to watch because they were down 10-0. And in the old days, if Vanderbilt gets down 10-0, you might as well just go ahead and go to the house. Correct. So because the game's over. And so it was a beautiful thing to watch. I really enjoy watching this Vanderbilt team.
You know, I'm going to go back to about their best game. They lost the turnover battle and had 11 penalties.
Yeah, I don't want to throw too much here on this Arizona State game, but to this point, Arizona State's number 12 in the country. Sam Levitt was a Heisman candidate. Heck, some people were voting him as their Heisman winner to start. How are you a Heisman winner against Mississippi State, 10 for 22, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, and literally 82 yards of total of passing yards? That is not even consideration of Heisman. A bad game should have been 200 yards passing. That is kind of my thing when it comes to someone that was hyped as much as Sam Levitt was, and as much as we talked about Arizona State going into this season. The SEC hate is going to have to stop now because you got Mississippi State beating the crap.
Well, let me just add real quick. I was just going to add real quick. Vanderbilt, really nice win against Virginia Tech on the road. They were down 10 points and rallied to blow them out. I mean, I think they said the stat was it's the first time Vanderbilt's done that in 80 years. Been down double digits to somebody and then rolled them. But I was just going to throw out, guys, the question: does this scare you at all for the SEC that Mississippi State looks decent, Kentucky looked competent, like it could be the, what do you call it, the cannibalization?
Yes, we said at the beginning of the season, right, Gordy? We that's what we were talking about. We said, how many playoff teams do we have? And we were consistently scared that we are, in fact, going to cannibalize ourselves. And I thought 4 or 5. I was with you. I thought 5 being up there. But all of a sudden now, some of the playoff teams that I thought could sneak in might not have a shot anymore. And some other SEC teams are going to sneak in doing it. It is crazy, Gordon. You're exactly right. Our fears to begin the season, I think, are being realized.
Commissioner Gordon,
how much of talent we have now.
You know, it's really interesting because in this NIL era, it's basically the ceiling has gone down, but the floor has gone up.
Yeah.
So you're going to have a little bit more parity in that. And good for Jeff Levy. I mean, honestly, the Ole Miss ties in the Mississippi State program right now, it's really cool to see what's going on despite the rivalry between Ole Miss and State. Kentucky, like I said, if they just didn't have Calzone at quarterback, they'd be all right. So it's like a pizza, but harder to eat.
How dare you walk in here and sit here after not covering the spread and act all nonchalant?
Oh, my God.
Costing me hundreds of dollars.
Teams.
That was funny.
That is the worst bad beat I've seen in a minute.
Thanks for the comment from a 9-time champion who says Luke Robinson looks like the clueless dad in a cartoon sitcom. Who told you about me? That's exactly what I am. That's my life.
Hey, Steven, just to add to that Ole Miss Kentucky game, I was watching with my wife's a Kentucky grad, so we were watching with some Kentucky fans. It's funny that they came out of that game going, all right, not bad. We hung in. And Ole Miss fans were like, yeah, we're 1-0, but God, that was ugly. You know what I mean? It's like Ole Miss fans feel bad following the loss. Kentucky fans feel good following the loss.
Yeah, I don't understand what people were expecting in that game. Mark Stoops is a pro at doing that and turning the beginning of the game. You have a new quarterback in there. He picked him off in the first quarter. You were down 10-0. But after that, Ole Miss outscored them 30-13 and kind of won going away towards the end of the game. It was just that first quarter. For 2 straight weeks, they've had 2 really bad first quarters. They need to clean that up before Arkansas, to be honest.
Hold on. I'm going to push back on this because I'm still angry about losing my bet. And this has nothing to do with you, Steven. This is what my therapist would call projecting, but I'm still going to say it. You saying that they ran away with it. They were up 7 in the fourth quarter. Had to kick a field goal with 1:08 to go. Like that game was close. And I'll tell you what people are expecting Ole Miss to do. If you're going to compete for a national title or a playoff spot, it's to beat Kentucky. 8 other teams beat Kentucky last year. Ole Miss didn't do it. They're not a good football team. Like at some point, you expect them to go in and absolutely blister this team. Is the worst in the SEC instead of escaping with a 7-point win. And I'm not mad at you, Steven. I'm mad at Lane Kiffin. But the idea that we've built up this rivalry game now, it's always close when these throw out the record books when Ole Miss and Kentucky suit up. You're like, no.
This situation, it actually is true because Lane wants to be the 1970s Oakland Raiders, and Mark Stoops wants you to be the 1970s Oakland Raiders. And if you try to play that game, he will make a rock fight happen. At the middle of the game, when Austin Simmons started taking quick hitches and doing stuff like that, all of a sudden the run game opened up. and that was whenever they were able to take over. But the first quarter was a bad look for Ole Miss because Austin Simmons struggled trying to force the ball down the field as well. Once they just settled in, they were okay. This was a game that Ole Miss had 158 yards before contact in the run game, and that happened because of the quick game that they brought out. So this was not the Kentucky game from a year ago. This team, Ole Miss lost this game last year. They literally did. If the first quarter started, Ole Miss would have lost this game a year ago. This time, Ole Miss not only turned it around, they kind of started pulling away. It was a 10-point game with a minute left, and there was one big play that started a field goal for a bad beat. But Ole Miss loses this game a year ago, seriously.
Well, hold it right there, guys. We've talked some about the good. There was more good. We'll get to more good later. We'll get our thoughts from our guys who aren't here, but we've put it off enough. We're going to get to the bad, Brandon Olson. Coming up next, we're talking about the Florida Gators losing to South Florida. That's coming your way next. Hey, real quick, guys, I want to remind you about our friends over at Supply House. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today. See parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Real-time inventory, honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. If you need parts fast for a project, Supply House has next-day delivery. Talk about a game changer. Join their free Trade Master program today and score some serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com. Sign up for free and use our promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. This episode also brought to you by friends at Game Time. Look, I used the Game Time app this past weekend. College football's back, and the best way for you to get tickets and avoid all those endless queues, hidden fees, prices jumping at checkout, the Game Time app, the app that gives you the advantage, back to fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices. No surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. Pull up the Game Time app, couple taps. You're going to see amazing deals. I'm talking your favorite college football games as low as $25. For Brandon Olson in Florida, maybe as low as $10 if Florida Gators keep losing games. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets, college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use our code LOCKEDONCollege. Get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today with the Game Time app. All right, gents, we get into it. The deep disappointing performance of the weekend. The Florida Gators somehow losing to South Florida, who I said on the show last week, they looked impressive against a good Boise State team. And people went, oh, well, Boise stinks. Florida's going to take care of USF, and USF beats Florida 18-16. Another Grammatica kid. We can't get rid of the Grammaticas. They just keep kicking field goals. But, Brandon, I'll give you the floor. That was ugly.
Yeah, that was second worst loss of my life as a Florida Gators fan. It was brutal. I mean, that was just awful. I think that easily the worst performance of DJ Lagway's young college career so far. I thought it was an awful coaching performance of just undisciplined football throughout. It was horrible. The 11 penalties, including 30 yards of defensive penalties on the game-losing drive, including one of those being spitting on another player. Just, I mean, I talk about stupid decisions that cost Florida games, right? Or partially cost Florida games. I think that those two penalties, missed tackle led to a 30-yard gain on a screenplay on that final drive. Billy Napier had burned a timeout. And honestly, that drive that started with 2 minutes and that drive that started with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left, DJ Lagway checking out of the run to throw the out route and then throwing it too far, leading to an incompletion, and then being forced to punt when Vernell Brown III dropped the wide open, or not wide open, but when he dropped the catchable ball, hit him in both the hands. Horrible game management has been a big thing for Billy Napier since he got hired at the University of Florida. Going to probably continue to be a thing until he's fired from the University of Florida. But I mean, this is as simple as coaching has failed yet again and going to continue to fail. I guess it's tough. Not wearing jorts. Thank you very much, JJ Brand. Not wearing shorts. Just
not
wearing
wearing
bad pants. That's it.
Yeah, we were talking about this in the green room before we started, and I was wondering what would Tennessee look like when Alex Golesh leaves. And then I was asking myself, what does Alex Golesh really do? Because this is Josh Heupel's offense. Like, what is he really out there putting together? And Tennessee kind of looked a little step back on offense. Young quarterback, they looked a step back. But South Florida looks like they're well coached. And it looks like they've got a dude that knows what he's doing. So it wasn't a shocker when I saw them blow out Boise State. I was like, okay, I think that they're probably giving them the work because I don't think Boise State is as good as advertised. But him being able to do that against Florida, hence he was at Tennessee, so he's seeing Billy Napier a little bit. It's like he had an understanding of what to do in order to win this game, and they looked really well coached. So I kind of got to give it to Alex in that. He may end up taking somebody's job here in the SEC at some point.
So for a pretty good team, huh? Pretty good team. People have been saying it for a couple of years, right, Luke? Weird.
Yeah, they got dudes. I mean, I joked on the podcast today that when they shook hands after the game, I bet you that Billy Napier just handed Golesh his office keys because he's like, "You'll need these next year."
Yep.
When you're coaching over here.
Anybody else have any thoughts on the Gators?
I have a few things to say.
Yeah,
I'd like to
go
say,
ahead.
all you had to do was be quiet. The entire offseason, like, haven't had more than 9 wins since 2019. You knew what the schedule was. You knew what the talent was. All y'all had to do was be quiet. Couldn't do it. Could not help yourselves because you went 8-5 last season with a win in the Gasparilla Bowl, and all of a sudden it was like, no, we're making the playoff this year, dog. We're a top 15 team. You weren't. Like, listen, DJ Lagway, top 5 player in college football. You know what a top 5 player in college football does? They complete those passes when your coach tells you to do it with 2 minutes left, which is a stupid play call, but you complete those passes, and you don't lose at home to South Florida. I was told all offseason, it's
which
by
pass?
completion percentage is really stupid. Well, and you guys were right. It was because yesterday he completed a ton of passes, and they were awful. This team, you told us, Brandon, was a playoff caliber roster. A playoff caliber roster. That was a lie. And this team they're now going to face 4 top 10 teams in the next 6 weeks. And I cannot wait to see how that unfolds because all y'all had to do was be quiet. All you had to do was be quiet and say, maybe we get 8 wins. We'd be so lucky with that schedule. No, couldn't do it.
Is this about a question mark?
That's it. That's all I'm asking is which pass.
Thank you, Benny.
I'll say this, though. If Florida is able to bounce back and do better in the rest of the toughest portions of the schedule, everybody's opinion will be completely different. You still got Lagway, who's still young, still learning and figuring things out. I just hope that Billy unleashes him a lot more. I don't want him to be held back like quote-unquote Arch Manning was in the first week of the season. Please unleash the kid and let him just chunk the ball down the field. Give us a lot more of that.
But
Jay, I don't. DJ Lagway needs to just DJ Lagway needs to play better. Like this.
Agree.
Head coach and quarterback are going to get the praise when you win. They're also going to get the blame when you lose. But like DJ Lagway played off. Like I kept asking Marler which pass he was talking about. Complete with 2 minutes left. I'm asking because DJ Lagway checked out of a run to throw that out route, which is why I'm saying Billy didn't ask him to throw that play. Is what I'm going to say. I think that was Lagway's fault.
That's Peyton Thorne level stuff right there.
Yeah, no, it was awful. That was a.
I'm sure he won't get the same backlash that Peyton Thorne got though for the entire year because he was the savior of this program. And I'll tell you that I saw in the comments over here, Marler ranting now, but wait till South Carolina loses 5. The difference is I didn't spend the entire offseason talking about how this team was a playoff caliber team and was only going to dominate all these people. And that's what I don't understand because you have the track record. Remember, they wanted to run off Mullen. Because of how bad Mullen was. Mullen took him to back-to-back 3 years in a row, New Year's 6 bowl games and back-to-back 10-win seasons. Couldn't deal with it. Had to go get Billy Napier. So, personally, I can't wait to see what Auburn Jr. does in this coaching hire because they've knocked it out of the park over the last 15 years. Should be really entertaining.
In fairness, Florida was one of the hottest teams in the country down the stretch last year. They got their crap together. Lagway looked good. The defense played lights out, and they finished on how many games in a row did they win, Brandon, including the bowl game?
They won 4. Yes. Once Lagway came back, they didn't lose again.
So, I mean, there was justification for buying into the hype. But, guys, the next 4 games at LSU, at Miami, home for Texas, and at A&M, Does anybody think they go 3-1 or even 2-2 in
Did
that?
they
stretch?
just add those games to the schedule, or were they there all year, like in the preseason? Because that was one of my biggest arguments all offseason. Did they just add those on this week?
No.
Okay. All right. Cool. Just wondering.
We keep on saying, and Jay, we say, hey, unleash Lagway. But when can we just maybe say that Lagway isn't good quarterback? And we want to say unleash. And we could get video of other quarterbacks on a knee throwing 60 yards down the field and hitting the top of a roof of a dome and saying, look how talented they are. You have to play quarterback, and you could be all predator, physicality, those kind of things. At the end of the day, you might not just be good at anything. And he showed me yesterday, he's not good at decision-making. He's not even on the read option, on the RPOs. It's not there for him. And so we can say unleash him, and maybe we unleash him and it's worse, as odd as that can be.
Yep. That's a fair point. And it's more of a, as a true sophomore, he does have to make better decisions. And Brandon, you mentioned that as well, is that he's checking out of a play that leads to something that's probably not desirable. Should have probably left it into that run. So yeah, he's gonna have to get better at the decision making. The physical tools are there. We all know that part. But Clint, you are right. He's got to get better at being just quarterback. And at some point, hopefully we'll see it. But it's never a guarantee. So I try to give the benefit of the doubt because he's young, but at the same time, the reality there is right now he's just not playing good ball.
The bigger issue with him being banged up the offseason is just not getting the reps, because he's young and we know he's physically talented, but needs the reps. That's it.
That's true.
At
quarterback, you got to throw the ball a lot.
Injury, and more talent and bad coaching and just excuse after excuse. He's bad.
What is an excuse?
He's banged up. Doesn't get reps.
No. I'm saying that he needs reps to be better, and he didn't get those reps. He's not great right now. I spent all offseason saying that he needs reps to be better because he was good for a freshman. He was good for a freshman, but he wasn't good overall. Was what I said. That they played unsustainable football last year because it was either the run game or DJ Lagway connecting on deep shots, and outside of that, they were going 3 and out. And so DJ Lagway needs to develop and needs to improve, and he needs to develop an underneath game. And instead, what he did against South Florida was when they took away the deep ball and gave him the underneath, he tried to take off running multiple times. He got sacked twice against Long Island because he tried running and ran into sacks. He needs to get better. It's a simple thing.
He's still at the point that he's seeing stuff for the first time. He's still at the point where he can get fooled.
Yeah.
These are all
these young quarterbacks are doing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brandon, since this is an overreaction show, it is just week 2. But if you could have any coach this offseason, who would you want to replace Napier if he does get fired?
Nick Saban.
I feel like it's
not going to be.
I feel like it's a win. I don't know who it's not going to be Lane. I can tell you that. I know that's going to be Florida. I've already seen the edits coming out from Florida Gators fans about Lane Kiffin in there.
It's that time of year again.
Yeah, you lose a game and Lane's in the hoodie.
So you said are you saying they wouldn't hire Lane, or Lane wouldn't leave Ole Miss for Florida?
I'm saying that Lane's not going to be the coach I name as the one I wanted. He also wasn't the coach I was naming last year as the one that I wanted. Or not that I was naming people that I wanted last year, but I don't think Lane would be the guy that I'm talking about. Golesh was on my list last year. Matt Campbell was on my list, although I don't think Florida's a spot for him that he's actually going to wind up at. I think Florida's in a very tough spot that I spoke about last year when we were talking about potentially firing Billy Napier. I don't know what the right mix is when every Florida Gators fan goes, well, I want a proven guy, but I don't want to break the bank, but I don't want to get a group of 5 guy, a proven winner at the group of 5 level. It's like you set all these parameters, and the real answer is there's not going to be a guy that fits every piece of criteria that Florida fans are looking for. I don't know who it's going to be. I think that the most likely option would probably end up being a G5 guy that they call up again, or a current Power 4 coordinator that they give a head coaching job, whether he had that experience already or that would be the first time that he would get it.
UNLV off to a nice start. Maybe Dan Mullen run it back.
Hire Alex Golesh. Do it.
Is there a world where we see DJ Lagway being the player and the coach, much like a 1920s baseball team? Because I've heard
more like a Bill Russell with the Celtics.
Well, I mean, I hear all the argument of not firing Billy Napier is, well, then you lose DJ Lagway, and
yeah.
I never got that one, but that's what we're still getting there even after that performance.
And I hate
Golesh could convince him to stay.
Well,
All right, fellas, let's pause it there. When we return, we will hear from some of our cohorts who are not here to get their thoughts on the other SEC games. And we got to talk about it. Bama back. They look pretty good. Georgia, we'll talk on some of the other teams that played this weekend. Coming up next. Hey, quick question for all you college football fans out there. If you go back in time and sit front row at your school's biggest rivalry game, what hat would you be wearing? Yes, I said hat. For us, it would be the game. There aren't just hats. They're the same vintage style hats fans wore back in the 80s and 90s, and they still go for the same price they did back then. When you use our code LOCKEDON, you will get your vintage hat for $16.99. All you got to do is head to thegamecaps.com. That's THEGAME caps.com. Grab your team's classic bar or retro circle design and use code LOCKEDON for an exclusive discount because legends wear the game. That is thegamecaps.com. I got you're an Alabama fan. Luke, you want to get in on the Tide? They got that for you. Plenty of great caps up there. Thegamecaps.com. Make sure you use our code LOCKEDON to get your special hat, your first hat for $16.99.
The problem with that hat, Chris, is they don't make it in hydrocephalic, so I can't wear it.
Yeah, I know you've had that problem with helmets and everything. You just can't fit anything.
I got a lot of issues. Yeah. I've got the strongest neck in the universe.
Let's hear from some of our cohorts who cannot join us because they're us heathens are here avoiding church. So let's get to some of the guys who are heading to church. Let's start with our guy, Zach Blackerby. Auburn 2-0.
Hey guys, how we doing? Hope all of you are well. What an incredible weekend of SEC football, except for Florida. Yikes. Yikes. Wanted to give you all a quick update on Auburn, Ball State, because all y'all do is bash Auburn when I'm not there. Thought Jackson Arnold looked good. I thought Auburn's running game looked good. They made it very clear that they were going to try to do stuff offensively that is kind of seen as a weakness right now, to use the game against Ball State to get better, which I think is the right way to handle those games. So take that for what it's worth, but I think Jackson Arnold took a step forward as a quarterback on Saturday. They'll have another chance to do that against South Alabama, who lost a close one to Tulane. They might be a little bit better than I expected them to be. We'll see. Then obviously they head to Norman to take on what looks like a very good Oklahoma team. Can't wait for that in 2 weeks, but happy SEC Squad Sunday to all of you guys, even Brandon Olson.
So there we go. Zach sending his best wishes. I was thinking about this last night, though, guys, of the teams in the SEC that are 2-0. Like, where would you put Auburn right now? Because it was a nice week 1 win over Baylor. I get it. Ball State's Ball State. But, like, could we call Auburn one of the top, 6, 7 best teams in the SEC right now?
Can we call the cops on him recording that while driving? Just pull over, Zach. I mean, what are we like? What kind of time constraints are we on right now that we have to do this while driving?
He has
Somebody
children.
was in the
Come
back
on,
seat
Zach.
carrying tags off mattresses too. I mean, he's just doing all kinds of
Georgia of him to be a danger on the roads. That was crazy.
Well, shout out to Zach. But nobody buying Auburn right now is one of the best teams in the SEC.
Top half, maybe. I might agree with that. I'd go top half of the SEC, but
Me too.
I'm not going top 3 or 4. The other teams are better established, more consistency, more talent, better coaches. I think Auburn's hitting their stride right now on what they needed to do, knowing what's ahead for them and knowing that, just as Zach has said all season, 6-6 is the worst outcome. It either needs to be 2 wins or 9 or 10 wins, and I think Auburn knows that. They're playing really well as of now, but no, historically speaking, it's going to take depth and it's going to take better coaching. It's going to take better skill positions. Auburn is who I've seen them to be the last couple of years. Even when we played them, they gave us fits running the ball. Peyton Thorne gave fits running the ball and keeping that game close, and they have talent on defense. Top half, I'd give it to them this year because they're playing well. They're executing well.
Yeah, it all comes down to how good is Baylor. I mean, that's the answer to the question we don't have at the moment.
Big win for them yesterday.
Yeah, they beat SMU, gave up 45 points. They could have some problems on defense, which isn't that what Dave Aranda is supposed to be good at?
Good Lord.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot there. So I want to wait. I think what is their first SEC game? It was either Oklahoma or A&M.
Oklahoma.
Yeah,
They're both are on the road.
Yeah, that game is going to really tell the tale of what we have with Auburn.
I'd rather Dave Aranda give me advice on hair growth than be my defensive coordinator right now. I can tell you that.
I think you're a little bit low on Auburn because of the fact that it is the 12th ranked roster. We've talked about this before. I know it's going to ruffle some feathers. I think that they have a much better team than people think, but they do have to play a lot of road games. If you watched into the environment last night, Jordan Hare did look like it was pretty lit. I will also say to the Auburn fan that came in and their first comment was about Alabama, never going to beat the allegations.
Let's just throw out there, guys, some of the other games. Let's start with Texas, San Jose State. For those who watched, this was on ABC, the early game, nationally televised game, and I thought an opportunity for ESPN to showcase Arch Manning, and it was rough from like the first drive, and then he kind of got going and ended up throwing 4 touchdowns, ran for
95, 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, he looked good, but no surprise. I mean, we said this. They were gonna, with these 3 home opponents, they get UTEP next and then Sam Houston. Arch is supposed to look good in these games.
I mean, great. This is a good stretch for him, but like I didn't learn anything one way or the other about Arch Manning this week. We already knew he could put up numbers against these type of teams.
But did he give us something? Did he really show us something? Was he good?
Didn't.
He's hurt.
I mean, stat line.
Nothing.
He probably doesn't have a lot of reps from last year either. He didn't look good because he didn't have the technical ability throwing the football. That's my biggest problem. If you watch him throw, the mechanics, you watch him go through the decision-making down the field to front, it doesn't look like he's processing defenses still, and it doesn't look like when he does, he has the mechanics that are supposed to be ingrained into a quarterback. It didn't look that way, so the stat line looks all right, but put him in any other vacuum, and I'm not happy with the performance. You take a name away from it, you blur all the logo of the Texas, and you get the orange out of it, and you just look at somebody and say, hey, look at this guy throwing the football. What do you think? Coaches are not going to come away pleased with what they're watching.
No, I agree.
What do you think about Georgia's offense, Clint?
10 offensive linemen rotated out, 2 starters gone. And we ran about 32, I think is the unofficial number of screens into the boundary that we called specifically because nothing was going to be on tape for Tennessee. So the thing that I watched that I'm very happy about from last year, these are the 2 biggest points that Kirby wanted to have. And he has 12 to 15 things he always goes through every single week. He says, I have 12 to 15 goals on offense and defense. It was very, very, very apparent to me. What he wanted to see was a power run game, regardless of the play call. I knew the play was going to come. He motioned the tight end from pre-snap motion, went to the other side of the quarterback on the running back. Whatever side the running back was on, the run was going the opposite direction with a pulling tackle, pulling guard, pulling something, power on that side. It was almost as if Kirby said, I'm going to tell you the play on the other side, coach, and I want my guys to still execute and get 4 yards. And it was.
So to even add to that, and I agree in looking at portions of the game, it reminded me of Oklahoma, Illinois State. And I try to tell people they don't want to put anything on tape for Michigan. They don't want Michigan to know what they're going to do. They're going to play a whole bunch of kids. It was basically a dress rehearsal game. And this is what it felt like with the Georgia game too. They were playing with their food the entire time. And they were like, we're just dress rehearsing people to see who we actually going to have as our final players to go against a big matchup, because Tennessee is going to be a tough game. They're going to Neyland Stadium this year. And Joey Aguilar actually looks pretty good. So you want to make sure that you're not walking in there stupidly thinking, oh, we're just going to dominate them because they're Tennessee. This may be a game where there actually will be a challenge. Plus, you needed to get Stockton some throws. Like, he needed reps. Like, we're joking about reps with everybody else. He kind of does need more reps because we haven't seen a lot of it. So they played with their food in this game. They won. Like, we knew the game was never in jeopardy, but yeah, it didn't feel like they were trying to put anything on tape. They just wanted to hand the ball off and just go run down your throat.
That's exactly right. And the defense, the other side of the ball, defensively, Kirby Smart wanted to get better in the trenches of stopping it. And again, I keep saying this, but every single time I look at film, CJ Allen, Raylan Wilson, and Justin Williams are absolute monsters on the inside, and they are tackling. Their tackling percentage is way up. This game against Tennessee, whatever the number comes out, I'm taking the under on the game in Tennessee. I know Tennessee's got a good offense, and you can be called an offensive genius when you're playing easy things and just throwing the ball over the field and running up 70, 60 points. This game is going to hit the under in Neyland Stadium next week is almost a lock for me.
Yeah, it's an interesting take on Georgia. I mean, they were, Clint, what was the spread? It was like
48 and a half.
Yeah. You had Georgia not cover that spread. You had LSU just, I mean, playing around with Louisiana Tech. They were like 35-point favorites or something. So it's this weird dynamic. I don't know how much this is transfer portal. I don't know how much this is coaching staff not wanting to show something. Guys just coming in and having a huge matchup one week and then a letdown the next week. So I don't know. All I know is it's just win games, right? That's the
right.
biggest thing.
By the way, TT in the comments, you're exactly right. Chris Cole is a name that nobody is talking about, but that guy is an absolute monster off the edge. He can play every position in the defense. He's going to play star for Georgia this season.
That's awesome, dude. You think no one's talking about him because they played Marshall and Austin P? Not even Austin Poop, Austin P.
You were like 5 seconds away from losing the only friend you have on this squad show. Just so you're aware.
Hey, look,
Austin Poop, not Austin P, is pretty good, Clint. Pretty good stuff.
Look, give us a thought on Bama, because I mean, look, it was everybody crap on Bama the last 7 days, and so Bama comes out. I get it's Louisiana Monroe, but I mean, that's about as dominant of an ass kicking you can give somebody.
Yeah, look, I know, I titled my podcast "We're Back" because I just wanted to tick off some opponents, but we're not necessarily back. But I'll say this. That was as good a performance as you could have after the performance you had at Florida State. That if you're a fan and you're just going to poo-poo this as like, it's ULM, no big deal, you can beat the heck out of somebody and not look good doing it. But Alabama looked sharp. Ty Simpson made some nice throws. I'm not putting Alabama back in the playoffs yet. I'm not doing anything like that. They've got a long way to go. There is no doubt. But it seemed like the staff got some memos about some players. Kevin Riley got a lot of play, and he looked good. He had burst that the other backs don't have. Defensively, hey, look, they only crossed the 50-yard line twice in the whole game, did ULM. I don't care who you're playing. That's pretty doggone good. And they got a shutout, and they put up 73 points. A.K. Deere did something nice at the end. And I'm going to tell y'all something. I've got 4 children. I've been to 3 World's Fairs, and I've been the groom in 2 marriages. And I've never seen anything as pretty as Keelan Russell throwing an American football. I don't want to be hyperbolic. I'm just saying it was gorgeous. It was tear-inducing. Now, I love Ty Simpson. I hope he keeps doing well and keeps improving. I really want him to. But Keelan Russell looks like a dude for the future. Very excited about him. There were a lot of young guys. Lots Brooks played well. Jeremy Bernard, you know what? Jeremy Bernard is what we've been wanting Ryan Williams to be. That's one thing that people need to come to grips with. Jeremy Bernard's a leader. Again, I'm prefacing all this by saying I know it was ULM. I know they're not very good. I understand all that. But given that I was in Tallahassee and we look like warmed crap, and then we come out and play like this, that is at least encouraging. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs. I want to say that again because somebody will put this on a short and say Luke Robinson said Alabama's winning the national championship.
I'm doing it.
I'm not doing that. I'm just saying that we got better, and now let's move on to Wisconsin and get better again.
Absolutely no chance you only have 4 kids, but the rest of that was beautiful. So I appreciate that.
Marler, give me a quick thought, because I was in bed and South Carolina finally came out of the weather delay, but I was looking at the numbers and I was like, wait, Lenoris isn't doing much. It was all special teams.
Yeah.
Are they going to keep kicking to Vakari Swain? Because this dude's a stud.
I mean, this game was 3 years ago. You would look at it and say, like, this is a perfect – I love this team win under Beamer, like in his first or second year as a head coach here. They scored in every phase of the game, right? They had a defensive score for a touchdown on a fumble return. They had 2 punt returns for a touchdown. That gives Vakari Swain 3 on the year. You talked to the coaches in the offseason. Everything they kept saying was that, like playmaker was the word that kept coming out of multiple coaches' mouths, and that is obviously shown true with him, what he's done in the return game. Lenoris didn't look great. That's not the concern. I think he'll be fine. I think one concern that at this point you have to say is the injuries piled up very, very badly, and it was in a lot of key people. Josiah Thompson going out at left tackle. It's not like that offensive line's been good, but the attrition in the secondary is very concerning, and I just think the way they started so slow, if they play like that against Vanderbilt, they're going to lose. And I'm not saying that that's my final prediction for that game, but if they play like that against Vanderbilt, they will lose that football game. So lots to clean up. I don't think it's on Lenoris, but not being able to run the football effectively still is a concern.
Let me just throw in Texas A&M because I watched that one. They beat up Utah State 44-22. I'm a little worried for those who didn't watch the games. I mean, the defense is pretty good for A&M, but you give up 24 to UTSA and 22 to Utah State. Now you're going to go to Notre Dame. I'm just a little worried about the A&M defense, which I thought was going to be a strength. That's Mike Elko's strength over there. But the offense, Concepcion and Craver have really opened up that passing game for Marcel Reed. So just wanted to add that for A&M. Any other games you guys want to give a thought on, and how are we feeling right now heading into week 3?
I'm just saying, Russ Tastic, by the way, Josh Hoopel has already lost many home games. You're waiting for him to lose a home game. He has already done so 4 times, and it's not.
He lost to Lane.
So just saying,
they scored first in that game 5 straight years, 4 under Heupel. It's my most fascinating betting thing with Tennessee because they score first in a lot of their games. They want to get out to a fast start, and they have been able to do so amongst everyone. But doing it against Georgia provides a little bit more value for talking about a betting standpoint, and they have scored first on them every year. Now, they are also 0-4 in those games. So
I was just going to say they took out 14 points, and then Kirby came back and held them to it after that the whole rest of the game.
Quickly, I'll just say I'm really interested to see what Arkansas looks like at Ole Miss this week. They've scored 110 points in 2 weeks. Are they for real? I want to see it.
And what's that? Yeah. Did I see that line is 10, Steven? Ole Miss
minus 10? If it's at 10, it's gone up. It started out at 9.5.
Wow.
It's moving.
It's the SEC's drunk uncle of the football game.
Yeah.
Every single year, something bizarre. So like I said, you would find out it's like, oh, JFK Jr. was alive and at that game. Yes, it would make sense because it's Ole Miss and Arkansas.
Yeah, it's like Ole Miss, 2 teams that always are the drunk uncles is them in Kentucky. It's the Arkansas-Kentucky game. It's always wild. I'm going to be honest, man, going into this week, we got a road game, man. We got to go up against Temple. They have scored 97 points in the first 2 games, and we ain't seen Temple do this in like some years. So I'm a little nervous about what that's going to look like in Philadelphia. They're in their actual stadiums. Chris, don't you dare do that to me. You let me have this moment.
We have never seen Temple do this because we don't watch Temple football.
Yes, you have. You watch. I know you are a degenerate. Do not act like you're not a degenerate. I have seen you do stuff for even wilder things.
Right? Let's not talk about what we've seen Marler do.
He does some strange things for some change, but I digress. It's going to be a fun week in SEC ball because I really hope that we continue to shut the haters up.
Can we check with Spencer, he'll tell you. No one seems to talk about even John, which like we said this. I said this all week, and I hope that people got to watch it because I know the Ole Miss game was on at the same time. But in a light slate where most of the games are on at night, and obviously the Florida game is on at the same time too. But like that Missouri-Kansas game, I kept calling it like the Egg Bowl of the Midwest. Like those 2 teams and programs hate each other so much. One of the best moments of the entire weekend. Somebody brought it up in the chat.
Yep.
They gave away $25,000 at halftime to make a field goal. This guy used that opportunity to go out on the field, pick up his shirt, and have it painted on his chest, FKU, and then took the kick instead of aiming anywhere close to the goalpost. He aimed directly at the Kansas sideline and kicked it right at him, which is just like peak SEC.
That guy was the MVP, no doubt about it. I mean, seriously, like what an unbelievable sense of humor, first of all. And I believe, and the guy's a heck of an athlete too. He actually has an artificial leg. He's like on the, the Paralympic like golf tour. Like he's a basketball wheelchair player. See, the guy maybe could have even made the kick, honestly. So the fact that he kicked it toward the sidelines anyway, I mean, 2 thumbs up. Just bravo.
Yeah.
I'm truly curious.
He's a basketball wheelchair player, and he was kicking a field goal. That is
amputee
out of bounds.
He's got an artificial leg.
That's like Marler's like doppelganger or something in like another
universe. At 9 o'clock this morning. Do you know how much of a loser I feel like?
Exactly.
Hey, I got a question for you all though. I'm truly curious. A&M traveling to Notre Dame. How do y'all feel about that game?
A&M
weird Colts. Just one's religious.
Yeah, if you want to get past the Texas 8-4 stuff, you have to win games like this.
Yeah.
That's how that starts.
I'm going to be leaning toward Notre Dame. That's all I'll say.
You know who Notre Dame played this week?
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone know who Notre Dame played this week?
They were all
no, they played nobody. They played one game in week 1 and then took their bye week in week 2 before they played Texas A&M. Which again, I'm just glad they're playing this game in an actual stadium, not an MLB stadium, and calling it a home game or an away game. So. Good for Notre Dame.
Hey, real quick,
it's like an SEC game.
Before we start to wrap up, guys, Clint, your big game. We do get 4 SEC games this week,
this week.
We mentioned it. Georgia's going to Knoxville, and our buddy Eric Kane on the way to church, giving us his take.
Hey, what's up, guys? Eric Kane, host of Locked On Ballsville Sunday Morning Reaction, and again, it was 72-17. Tennessee modern program era records for points in the game: 72, first downs 41. The opponent, It was ETSU. That's what you're supposed to do against an FCS opponent. Now, Georgia, meanwhile, kind of played with their food a little bit against Austin Peay. But obviously, everybody is looking forward to the game here. College Game Day is going to be here in Knoxville next week, Tennessee and Georgia. That's what the focus was last week. That's what the focus is going to be this week. And you just wanted to enter that game, with some momentum. And I think Joey Aguilar did just that. Tennessee continues to run the football at an elite level. Sure, you have a lesser opponent. You have an inferior opponent in front of you. What do? You beat the crap out of them. And that's exactly what Tennessee did on Saturday against the Bucks from ETSU. The real season starts now. Tennessee and Georgia, Week 3, College Game Day here at Neyland Stadium. And, man, we're going to learn an awful lot about both these teams this time next week.
Clint, you think we're going to learn a lot?
We are going to learn a lot, and the lot is going to be, what does Kirby actually think of Josh Heupel? Can he score more than 17 points against him? That's going to be the biggest question, because it hasn't been done yet, and he hasn't shown he could do it. And to me, Josh and Stoops are the same coach in Kirby Smart's mind. I know Tennessee fans want to call him an offensive genius, but Kirby Smart goes into Kentucky every single year and says, if I score 14, I'm fine. Let's go. I score 13. Heck, I score 10. It doesn't matter to me. He has something on Josh's system that other people don't. He's into that. If he can progress, I've always said this, Lane progressed last year, and I gave him kudos, and he really matured. This year, can Josh do the same? I don't know if he can from what I've seen. Even against Eastern Tennessee, he was out there doing the same stupid stuff unless he changes his whole entire who he is and what his habits are for Georgia, which he hasn't shown he wants to do. I'm confident that this game's going to be low scoring and close, but it's going to come down to the run game, and I trust Georgia's defense more than I do Tennessee's defense. They lost too much.
Isn't Heupel like one of 3 SEC coaches with a winning record against ranked teams? Is it just that he's bad against Georgia that you think he's bad?
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, everybody calls him this offensive genius. What I'm saying is Kirby Smart has him in a locker because he yes, good job.
Pun
he
intended.
has a system on him. He knows his tendencies, and he plays them really well.
Okay, cool. All right. I was wrong about Oklahoma, Jay. Congrats. Bye.
All right, gents.
Good.
We'll wrap it up there unless anybody has any other thoughts. We will be back later this week with our SEC Squad show, making our official picks for SEC Week 3. And just a quick note, it will be Arkansas at Ole Miss. We'll have Florida at LSU. We'll have Georgia at Tennessee and Vanderbilt at South Carolina. So it's going to be a fun slate of SEC games. And, man, could Billy Napier already be cleaning out his office after Week 3? That would be nuts, though.
No, it'll be very nuts. I was wondering about the Vanderbilt one. I don't think we got Corey up. I was kind of curious to what Marler had to say about that matchup coming up. It's fun.
Let's throw Corey up there real quick.
What's up, everybody? It is Sunday morning. Just initial reaction after waking up, after watching that game against Virginia Tech. Man, it's just impressive how Clark Lee, coming out of halftime, down 10, backs against the wall, on the ropes. Virginia Tech's getting ready to deliver the knockout blow, and they come out and just absolutely dominate the line of scrimmage and make Virginia Tech quit. That is the biggest takeaway for me, is that they just took control of the line of scrimmage in that game after such a bad start, made Virginia Tech quit, and just not only erased the deficit, but erased any doubt that this team isn't for real. So that's my initial thoughts. I'm going to have more this week as leading up to the matchup with South Carolina, and we'll talk about it soon. Anchor down.
There's Corey Olson. Some would say a Will Muschamp brother, perhaps.
Yeah.
Corey Burton, right?
Vandy Musclefield. He's right.
Corey Olson. Who's Corey Olson?
I was going to say my brother.
It's a guy I know, and I read Brandon Nay's name. And
they really did make Virginia Tech quit, though. I think that's funny. They rage quitted in the second half. That is like the funniest thing in the world to me, because I've heard a lot about Drones. A lot of people are very high on him, and I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I think he's solid enough for Virginia Tech going through the ACC this year, especially with the way Clemson is playing. But they really did make them rage quit in the second half. That is a very bad look on their part.
Yeah, after seeing Vandy games for my whole life and everything, that's normally what teams did. Vandy goes up to Blacksburg, and in the third quarter, it gets sideways on them so bad, and it turns into a 52-10 game. We've all seen that Vandy game. Vandy doing that to Virginia Tech on their home field.
Home field.
Oh my goodness, man. This is a different Vanderbilt. Clarkley hiring Jerry Kill to take over the offense just changed everything.
Yeah, look, they're undefeated right now, so we'll see if Vandy plays a factor here. Could you imagine an SEC championship game where Vandy is playing somebody? That would be nuts.
Vanderbilt, Missouri, black and gold. Let's go. Somebody said I've been too nice today. I'm going to head out here on this one. MIZFKU. See you guys later.
Nice.
All right. Thanks, John. Marla, you have a final thought? We're wrapping up here.
Well, Jay told me to come back because we're talking about South Carolina.
We're talking Vanderbilt, South Carolina. That was like the whole thing. As soon as you jumped out, I'm like, dude, this is what we were going to.
Why did you wait 54 minutes to talk about my team then?
Because it's like next week. That's why.
Well, that's fine. That's a very fair and logical point, so I shouldn't say anything.
It's okay.
No, dude, I'm concerned. I think the issue is you start again the injuries. You already had Kilgore and you had Collier in your secondary, two of your best players out for this game. Hopefully they'll be back. But then, I mean, last night was so ugly for so many reasons because you had the weather delay for 2.5 hours, and then you start afterwards, and it's like, man, you just want to get this game over with. And then you get Cisse, Swain, Anderson, Holman, Brady Hunt, Josiah Thompson. Every single one of those players left. Most of those players are on defense. And Vicari Swain just so happens to be the guy that has 3 punt returns for a touchdown on the season. So I don't know how bad the injuries are. Beamer will come out later today and talk about it in the teleconference, but it's just, I mean, it's scary because this Vandy team went out yesterday down 20-10 and then allowed 21 total yards in the second half and outscored them. I think it was like what, 34-10 or 34-0 or something?
34-0 in the second half.
Like that to close the game was crazy. So a lot of
absurd.
Yeah.
We'll leave it there, guys, because we got NFL about to kick off. Hey, reminder. I
got a couple things for you I want to talk about.
Locked On in College. Fire TV present College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. You can catch College Football Kickoff every Thursday throughout the season only on Fire TV. For Brendan Olson, Jay Smith, Chris Morrow, Stephen Willis, I'm Chris Gordy. We'll talk to you guys on the Squad Show later this week.